What's going on, everyone? It's Purple Haze here with another question. Actually, no, just a comment. But before I get into that, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's leaving questions or comments in the comment section. It really helps the interaction. I'm doing these for mostly just to establish a baseline of how I think about each of the companies and for me to come back to it to say, what are some of their successes? What are some of the difficulties I see? What do I think about the actual strategy? So don't worry, there will be more videos on that. But for now, it's just the baseline. I just want to say thank you. So with that, what about my comment? Well, my comment is that the Switch 2 will be a success no matter if you like it or not. I know it's kind of crazy. But if you ask people when it comes to Nintendo or if you listen to people, what they'll say is Nintendo's just different. And though I agree, I don't think this statement actually says anything. Like, most companies are different. You know what I mean? So, like, what does that tell you? But also, some people, if they dig a little deeper, they'll say something like, well, Nintendo's strategy is nostalgia. And though I think that's part of it, and I'll get to that in a second, I don't think nostalgia is a strategy in and itself. Disney, they have a lot of nostalgia, and I can guarantee you, Disney's not doing that great. Warner Brothers, they have a lot of nostalgia too. They're not doing that great. Sonic, the movies do okay, but the games, I don't think so. I mean, the truth of the matter, the games industry is littered with nostalgia, and that doesn't mean those games do well. So, what makes Nintendo different? I'm here to answer that. And it's a simple term that I like to say or like to call the flywheel of growth. I know. You're like, Purple, what the heck is that? And what does that have to do with gaming? Well, let me explain. The flywheel of growth really is that basically lends itself to its namesake, the flywheel. And the flywheel is a mechanical device that, due to its shape, gains momentum the further it goes along. And so, in a business sense, what does this actually mean? Well, what this means is that once you get the business really moving, which takes a little bit of time and a little bit of effort, and when I say a little bit, I mean a lot of it, once it gets going, it just grows and grows and grows. And in order to keep it going and gaining momentum, you have to keep feeding it. So it's that there. And if you want to learn more about the flywheel of growth, go read a book called Good to Great. I'll describe a lot of different companies at different phases who have done this successfully. But coming back to Nintendo, to establishing that, we can now say for Nintendo to do well, it really only has to do one thing well. Some people would say two, but I would say one thing. And that thing is, it has to evolve their IP further than their IP currently is at. So, what does that mean? Yeah, it means a little bit better graphics. It means a little bit better gameplay. It means a different gameplay. It means giving us something different. Maybe that's a story. Maybe that's a certain interaction. I don't know. But what it has to do is just give people something different. And then people will buy it. It's that simple. But unlike the other companies whose distribution model is really tied to either the subscription model or is tied to mass amount of people adopting their buying their consoles or buying their accessories, Nintendo, yeah, it has a little bit of all that. But really everything is revolving around their IP. You see, for Nintendo, evolving their IP just a little bit, making the gameplay loop just a little bit different fuels everything else for Nintendo. It fuels their theme parks, it fuels their movies, it fuels their plushies, fuels their clothing, it fuels the coloring books, the furniture, the housewares, it fuels everything. And yeah, some people have nostalgia, but in reality, people are just hungry to see their favorite characters evolve. And for new fans, they want to be a part of that. They want something to it to latch on to. And that's what Nintendo's giving them. It's just evolving the IP just enough to want us wanting more. And so that's actually what fuels Nintendo's growth. It's their IP. Everything else, to include their console, is secondary. Everything else, though, helps evolve their IP a little bit more. It gives us an opportunity to touch it just a little bit more. So this last generation of console, the Switch 1, yeah, it opened it up. Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, different. Mario, a little bit different. But there was a lot of games that were just kind of like, yeah, that's a harder type of platformer, right? Oh, that's a different type of car and mechanic and racing. It just gave us a little bit different. And that's what people wanted. And that's what people will continue to want as long as Nintendo continues to innovate in that direction. So, for me, it's their IP. Everything else will evolve it. And mark my words, I think this time we'll probably see a Nintendo Cruise, a Nintendo Musical, probably a Nintendo Casino, because it's all just evolving. And the only place Nintendo can go next is just spreading their IP to other industries. But enough of what I think. What do you think? Do you think Nintendo, is it nostalgia and just that? Or is it this crazy thing I call the flywheel of innovation? Or maybe you think it's something else? Let me know in the comments. And for everybody else, I don't care where you game, how you game, why you game, what you game on. As long as you're gaming, you're good with me. And as always, this is Purple Haze. And the proof is in the playing. All right, take care, y'all. Later.